everyone, this is Tia. Welcome to my channel. I am a first-year medical student in the US. I've created this channel to share my experience in medical school and other parts of my life. I hope that sharing my experience will help others who aspire to be doctors, healthcare providers, or any other profession. The medical journey is long and difficult, but I believe anyone can do it if they set their mind to it and work for it. Okay, so diving into today's topic, how did I get into medical school? First, I'm going to share a little bit about myself, some backgrounds on me, and I'll talk about some pre-med stuff like undergrad majors, classes, extracurriculars, and things like that. This video will be a broad overview of everything and more specifically my own experience. I do plan to make more detailed videos on more specific topics, so subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of those. I share my videos to YouTube, Bilibili, and Xiaohongshu, so if you're watching from China, you can find me on those platforms. So, who am I? First, this is an important question to ask yourself too, because how well do you know yourself? In applying for anything, you have to tell others about yourself and have them get to know you through your application or interview or personal statement or any of that stuff. So it's important to have a good understanding of yourself. This might seem pointless to talk about, but a lot of us actually struggle with questions about ourselves on interviews and applications. Self-reflection is something we all need more practice of. So me, I am Tia. My full Chinese name is Wu Tongfan. My last name is Wu. I was born in China and moved to the United States when I was 12. I didn't know any English when I first moved here, so I learned English through having to survive middle school. Yeah, kind of rough, but we'll save that for another day. I am an Aries, so if you're into astrology, I was an April baby. I am super into dance, fitness, beauty, fashion, all of that stuff, you know, what girls like to do. I'll talk more about my interests when we get to the extracurricular stuff. So I finished undergrad in 2018, took 2 gap years, and just started medical school 3 weeks ago. I have my undergrad degree in biochemistry and a minor in fashion and retail studies. Very different things, but that's what makes me interesting, right? Just kidding. Anyway, moving on. Okay. I did get a lot of questions from my Chinese followers, things like, 你学 premed 了吗？我是不是得先学 premed 才能考医学院? People might be confused with pre-med as a major, but it's more like a direction. It's not something you have to take as an undergrad. More so, you're supposed to take prerequisite classes for medical school application. We'll get into that. Usually I'd say I'm a biochemistry major with a pre-med track. So that means I'm studying biochemistry, but I want to do medicine after. That's the path that I'm on. So pre-med isn't really a major. You can study anything undergrad as long as you take the prereqs and all the necessary things for the application, then you can apply it for medical school. However, there are more and more universities that start to have pre-med as a major. I actually learned this from a research colleague who actually had pre-med as his major. So some schools are starting to have pre-med as a major, but generally you can study whatever and still apply for medical school as long as you have the prereqs. Okay? And then another common question for my Chinese followers is that, do the US medical schools accept international students? From what I looked through on the AMC website, the medical school admission requirements, they have a whole website of all the medical schools in the US and some in Canada too, I think, listed, and it tells you basically everything that you need to know about these schools. I highly recommend getting a subscription to that website. I think it was like $28 for a whole year, so you can access it for the whole application year. So I looked through pretty much all of the schools, not in detail, but I roughly looked over every school. And there are very few schools that accept international students. You either have to be a US citizen or a permanent resident of the US to be considered for a medical school. So it's kind of a bummer for international students, but there are ways you can probably work through. You just have to go through a few more processes maybe. Another thing I want to note for my Chinese followers is that I think the confusion comes from the different systems in China and the US. In China, the degree is MBBS, and you can basically start studying for medicine starting undergrad, so you can get a bachelor degree in medicine. But in the US, you can study whatever in undergrad and then you apply for medical school. Once you're into medical school, you start studying medicine, and the degree is a doctoral degree, either an MD, Doctor of Medicine, or a DO, Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine. For the prereq classes, every school has slightly different requirements, but mostly there's a general list of classes that you have to take for almost every medical school. Things like chemistry, biology, organic chemistry, biochemistry, some math and English and stuff like that. You can also find the requirements for each school on the MSAR thing of AMC. I'll just write it down here. Okay, so we're gonna switch gears to what I did in undergrad outside of school. I think a lot of pre-meds get overwhelmed with how much they need to do with extracurricular, keeping up with classes, getting good grades and all of that. Trust me, I was there. I feel you. I feel that. It is true that you should be well-rounded, but I don't suggest overstressing about, oh, I have to join like 10 different medicine related clubs and do research and volunteer and all of that stuff, and don't have time to do anything that I like to do. Me personally, I did what I enjoy doing. I honestly wasn't really involved in like medical clubs. I did a couple, but I didn't stay in them for too long just because I wasn't like totally into them. So the three major clubs that I was a part of in undergrad is one, a K-pop dance group, and two was a fashion organization, and three was a Chinese student organization. So none of them were really medically related, but I really enjoyed my time in those organizations, and it gave me things to talk about besides medicine in my interviews and applications. And they do want to see that. They don't want you to be a full-on like, they want you to be like this. Okay, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but you get what I'm trying to say, right? All right, moving on. What I did do for the more medical part were volunteer, shadowing, service trips, and also working in healthcare setting. The working part happened more during my senior year and the 2 gap years. So as you can see, I wasn't like the president of the pre-med club or like the president of, I don't know, global health initiatives or whatever. I did what I enjoy to do, and this is so important because this journey is long, you guys. It's a long journey, okay? If you are not enjoying the process, one, is really hard to keep up. I feel like almost any medical student has had some point in their pre-med journey that they wanted to give up. I certainly had quite a few of those times. It is not easy, so don't be overstressed. Just don't do it, okay? Give yourself a hug, pat yourself on the back. You're doing great. So yeah, if everything you do is for getting into medical school, you're losing yourself as a person. That will make the already very difficult pre-med years that much harder. And in the end, you might end up realizing that you hated the whole process. You hated all like 4 or 5 years of your life. And honestly, this will reflect on your application and your interviews. So you don't want to do that. You want to enjoy your pre-med years. Now you're finally ready to start your application, whether it's in your junior year in undergrad or after you've graduated like me, or you've earned a master's degree, or whenever, okay? It doesn't matter when it is, as long as you are ready. You need to be ready to start this whole thing. So don't stress if it's junior year of your undergrad and you're like, I'm not ready to take the MCAT. I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's fine. Take your time. A lot of people aren't ready right after undergrad to go into medical school. I'm a perfect example. I didn't take my MCAT until after I graduated, so I applied in 2019 to be matriculated in 2020. I'm here, aren't I? I know there's a lot of stress because medical school is 4 years, and after that you have more years of residency. I've been there. I've thought of all these things, but it's life, you know? You can't put yourself on every mark. Honestly, if this is what you want to do, it can wait. I think I saw this on an IG post at some point, and it said that if medical school is what you really want, it can wait. It's not going anywhere. It doesn't matter if you're 20, if you're 25, 35, medical school is just there. It's not going anywhere. So whenever you are ready, you can apply for it and become a doctor like you always wanted to be. The reason why I took 2 gap years is that I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready my junior year. I wasn't ready my senior year. So I took my time. I didn't feel confident that I can do it until my senior year. Even though I've wanted to become a doctor since high school, a lot can happen in college. Yeah. You'll face self-doubt, you'll question your choices, your actions, but at the end of the day, think about how you want to live the rest of your life, what you want to do for the rest of your life. Once you're sure about it, once you've set that as your goal, then you start looking for how and what you need to do to get to that place. For medicine, that's taking your prereqs, taking your MCAT, writing your personal statement, building your character through your interests and all of that stuff. And if you didn't finish everything before you graduate college, that's okay. Honestly, nobody said that you have to go into medical school right after college. That is one thing I really want to point out, because me, who took 2 years off, honestly am very thankful for the 2 years. There are times that I have doubted my choice, doubted my decision to wait and waste those years, but I couldn't have done it if I didn't take the 2 years. And if you think in the long run, if I had given up in undergrad because I wasn't ready and I couldn't take on what was about to be thrown at me and gave up at that time, then I would never reach this point. Whereas I took the 2 years to really prepare and build my confidence that I will get in and end up here now studying medicine. If you think long term like that, then you realize it's not that huge of a deal if you don't get into medical school right after college. So take the extra time if needed. If you can do everything in undergrad, I mean, there are people who are just on track. They got their shit together. You do you, okay? Nobody is stopping you from going right into medicine after college either. That is perfectly fine. You are bomb for doing that. But I'm just saying, if needed, take that extra time to build your application. On the surface, it's building your application, but on a deeper level, it's really building you as a future medical professional. Everything happens for a reason. Everything has meaning to it. So you have to find the meaning of what you're doing to make it impactful on you and your application. So I realized that I kind of went off a tangent, and this kind of turned into a motivational speech, but I mean, sometimes you just need a little motivation, right? I mean, I know when I was undergrad and pre-med, I just didn't really know where to start and always stressed over the timing of everything. So that's why I keep emphasizing that, like, it's okay. It's gonna be all right, and you will get there as long as you focus on your goal. If you guys have any questions, please comment below. I realized after making this video that I really do enjoy sharing. I don't know if anybody will even watch this, but I really like telling my experience and hoping that it would help others on their journey. I was someone who really struggled with where to find information, not knowing where to start, not knowing where to gather my resources, because I am the only person in my family who has pursued medicine. So I want to share what I know and share my experience to help others who might be feeling as helpless as I felt before. Like I said at the beginning of this video, this is a very broad overview of the whole medical school journey and a little bit of my own experience. I will be making more detailed videos. Please tune in, subscribe, like this video, comment on questions, anything that you want to know, anything that I can share with you guys, I will. I am also vlogging my medical school life right now, so if you guys like to see what medical school is like, go watch my videos. So yeah, subscribe, like, comment. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!